Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to game number 2 today. We have Pannuhuone taking on FALKE Esports. Should be a pretty interesting one. It is another best of one, but we have a slightly different face joining me. I'm Golimanu. I'm joined for the first time by Wissy Glitter. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Super excited to be here. Love me some best of ones. Love me the talent league, and love that I finally get to do this cast with you. I've been waiting for this
It's
one.
we've been waiting for the stars to align, and so very
Uh-huh.
excited to see what happens here today. And should be a pretty interesting game between these two teams. Both have had sort of ups and downs throughout their season, but you want to just keep on going, claim those points. But we have a map VO to look over. It is a best of one, so only one map gets to be played. What's it going to be? I mean, it's very likely the usual suspects, but we'll flip through the ban phase and then we'll head straight into the game. It's going to be the Oregon. Once again, Glitter. Oregon coming up again. It should be pretty interesting. Look, there's a lot of discussion about Oregon. Yes, the teams will know it. Yeah, you've seen it time and time again. But at the very least, teams will know what they're doing, right? That's how this works. That's the trade-off. We see Oregon again. The teams are better at it, right?
Are you referring to the match we just watched on Night Haven, where it maybe seems a little
Maybe,
bit more disjointed there? Yeah, I think you're
maybe.
absolutely right. Right, it's a classic map. It's classic stats. Not going to see anything probably new or inventive, or maybe we will. Right, it's a best of one, so you got to pull out all of the strats really early on, and it's a sprint, not a marathon.
Yeah, you just want to get in, get as many rounds as you can on your belt quickly, hit that 7, go back home, get in some ranked games, because we all know that's the real important part of Rainbow Six
That's
Siege
the
right
reason
there.
we're here. Yep.
We're all just here to warm up for rank. But first ban coming through, and it is going to be Pannuhuone starting on the defense. The JKB taken off. I think this makes a lot of sense, right? You want to be able to play the game. And when logic bombs start going off, suddenly becomes just a little bit harder to do that. It's going to allow FALKE to collapse very quickly on their attacks, and you take away one of these tools. We saw it in our last game earlier today have massive amount of impact in being able to very quickly spring yourself into defense, get those opening picks for yourself. The Ying ban coming through as well. This is again something that no one should be surprised seeing Ying taken away. The Candelas, they're pretty busted.
Yeah, super busted. And you know what it does leave? It leaves the Monty on the board. I don't know if we'll see it today. We didn't see it at all in Night Haven, and I thought that was going to be a guarantee. So it pretty standard bans as far as it comes out. Heading over to the defensive side, first one going to be off the board, Cade, which means, of course, that verticality not going to be denied. It's going to have some easy access to the hatches. And no surprises there. This last pick, though, this is kind of the question mark, right? Are you going to go with the intel of the Valkyrie? Are you going to take away that static warfare of the Azami, that catwalk, and that dirt hold? It is going to be the Valkyrie, right? Those C4s, that having that intel to create those opportunities for those C4s just too
Mm.
powerful. So Valkyrie is going to be taken.
I am really concerned that we still have a Fenrir on the table because Fenrir haunts my nightmares, man. This guy is an absolute demon, and immediately Neff locking it in, just like yeah, cool, we're on it. Look, you're trying to walk in through this map. There's so many sort of points we can get choked out. You look at Attic, you're trying to walk down there, you get hit by the dread mine, you're cooked. You're so dead. They're going to swing you very efficiently, and I'm looking forward to seeing how FALKE are going to tackle this. What tools they might have to get around the fact that Fenrir should be played every single round we see tonight. There's maybe a couple of occasions where you don't want to, but just how flexible it is, right? You can use it as effectively a proximity alarm if you want to, just to slow down a push. You can use it to block off a choke and make it very difficult to push on through. You can use it to just ensure that if someone commits by pushing into sight, if they jump through big window and you've got a mine active underneath it, you can't see shit and you're just going to get gunned down.
Yeah, Fenrir, incredibly OP after the nerf. Yeah, you have to have sight to be able to take on the kills, unless you're getting your, standard just pre-firing at the headshot and catch one on accident, because you know that swing's coming. But you're right, completely busted. And I think also busted is going to be the Azami, right? She is so huge for creating some of those trench warfares, changing those angles that you pre-fire and that you're used to. So if you put that in conjunction with the Fenrir, man, it's absolutely set up. Defense got a good slowdown city here with some of that area denial. Smoking in on the board. Some fun counter here as we start on the second floor.
Nice placed drone up on the lamplight as well, so that they can get that early information on Nifsu, who's looking to try and roam around the middle floor, forces him away from dining, but he's going to creep deeper down into the basement. Bombi does get the opening pick, though, and that's forcing their way in through master bedroom. Completely reinforcing off Attic is certainly a choice, right? It's going to make things a little bit harder for the attack to try and get that extra space to move around, but are going to remove the bulletproof camera looking down, deny that information, as they add another to their tally, with E2 falling shortly afterwards.
Tons of information, like you said, being had as the Grimbee's going out, reveals location. They find another one. Now it's the body balance tipped in favor of the attacking team, and it's going to start to send in those Flores drones, get rid of some of that extension util, specifically those keep barriers that were already set up. Maybe trying to find out if they can suss out where the heck those Fenrir gadgets are. So holding at the base of the stairs, waiting for a potential rotate back into side or a rotate down. One of those smoke canisters starts to go out. He's sitting in a 5-3 situation.
Now looking to apply pressure from more than 1 point. They've got Trophy comfortably under their control. Can they dislodge Attic? Can they get themselves pushing up white stairs? Because that will remove all the comfortable positions for the defense to play. You can see two of them lined up very neatly. If you get up that white staircase, big window also providing a good threat, as that's what we're seeing forever, looking to try and probe in for a little bit more information. Gets double swung on the window, but somehow keeps himself alive. You pair it with the push coming in from Pit. They're starting to collapse on Pannuhuone, and they don't know where they can move.
First gets taken out, the trade now puts us into a 1v3. It's going to be Fenrir with all to do here. Coming up the white stairs, takes a quick pre-fire, but he is dealt with immediately as the off-the-chassis play finds.
And again, just so quickly, moving into position around the bomb site, they take their time getting that initial control. They get the main breach open. Trophy locked down. There's no way the defense can take it back now, and you've gotten those opening 2 picks, so there's not a lot of space you know they're going to be playing in. They're going to be hugging onto those corners of the bomb site, and very efficiently just move one player onto each of the windows, each of the openings, and push in together. Lovely take from FALKE Esports as they claim the first round here in Oregon.
Absolutely. And they did it with some speed, right? Talk about efficiency. They got in, they got the job, they found their picks, and then were able, like you said, to collapse on the side. So if you're the defense and you know they're going to be playing this really aggro game, what do? You bring some slowdown with you. We already had the Fenrir on the board. Let's support them with the Capcan and the Legion as well, right? Really make them check every single door, every single window, and really just be the pace setters here, because on Oregon, this classic map, that's going to be a huge part of it. Who is going to determine how fast the game is going and where you're allowed to push into? I like this adaptation by the defense. Will it be enough? That part will kind of remain to be seen here. You're going to have to see some of that early aggression get capitalized on here.
It certainly makes sense for the basement, right? You want to have these tools that just make things a little bit more difficult for the attack to pull off such a quick execute. And you don't have to worry too much about roaming across the middle floor. We do see a couple silhouettes, just sort of feigning a bit of pressure, just be taking a couple shots at drones to slow down FALKE's initial clear. But very quickly, they'll find themselves back on that basement, wanting to play around the heavy utility and make the most out of these traps that they've got set up to support themselves, as already, just 30 seconds in, a bit of information coming on, some of these doors start to open, and we drop away. Oh, it's a potentially very cheeky way to try and get a kill with a Nitro Cell. If you hear one of these windows get punched on out, you do shoot a drone, you have to be very careful of the pressure coming in through Attic, and I respect the fullback.
Yeah, absolutely. Preserve life. Still so much time left on the board. You know they're going to be pushing in. You're going to get some of those engagements. So defense buckered back down. Give away that second floor for free. Give away that first floor basically for free. And now it's going to be up to the attacking team to start to push that pressure on. Going to see them get those can openers set up to open up those hatches, send in some of those Rotero drones. Got to take a little bit of extra time here and really make sure that all of the defenders have gotten back down. And there's that Fenrir gadget on the freezer. You know that is going to be an absolute menace trying to push into.
Looking for the hatch now as well. A goo mine popping out, and they'll have to just take a little bit of time to pull that on out so you don't continually take that tick damage. Droning on now for Forever as well, who wants to push a little bit deeper, but unfortunate timing, missing the Fenrir, falling back behind the lockers now, no longer holding that aggressive angle, instead going to be waiting for the Dread Mine to pop off. Close on the stairs with the shotgun though, they're ready to try and punish you, but baited by the drone!
the trade came out, and there's the Kapkan finding a kill, and then all of a sudden it just starts to collapse for the attacking team with 60 seconds on the board. Kapkan doing exactly what we needed it to do, slowing them down, making them question. And so Shin through blue is going to find a little bit of damage, but not going to be enough, as the C4 is going to ring out and find one, and now it's going to be Ash with all to do, and she's going to get a couple of bullets.
And get much better job at absorbing the pressure coming through. Nice little bit of cheeky play. I love to see a drone bait, right? You throw it on the floor, Smoke walks up, you're just ready, you know he's in close proximity. But the rest of that round, really, really nicely done by Pannu, is just, again, sat back, they fall back, they eat into the time, they shoot a couple of drones. They identified that with the lineup they were bringing, their power in that round was going to be catching people off with late round Kapkans. We saw a kill come through. Using the Melusi Banshees to absorb a lot of pressure. It denies you from just pushing in all together at the same time, because you've got the FNATs that you have to consider as well. Everything working to try and force FALKE to be in a really disconjointed final push, and you saw that happen exactly, right? Pannu very comfortably able to take an engagement in Freezer, turn around and address the push coming in at the back staircase, and then reassert themselves back over towards Laundry, just to completely manage FALKE. Beautiful execution on what their setup was designed to do.
And now you put it in their brain, Galu. Right now, you have that little tick in your brain that says, oh my lord, did they bring a Kapkan? So you're setting the pace for future rounds, making sure that you have to be doubly sure that you know every single defender that's on the board, because you don't want to get caught slipping again. You don't want to be the guy who ran into the Kapkan in the late round. So defense does switch it up a little bit, right? As the Kapkan, like we said, has done their job. We're going to take it on to a little bit more of the roam game. Even though she's been nerfed pretty heavily, she's still a viable op, right? In the game of intel and opportunity, Solus able to create a ton of those opportunities, including runouts, including the soft breach wall bangs, with the use of that gadget. So I like the adaptation here. Put a little bit more pressure on, and now is in that first floor, so could be a viable option. First of all, though, it is going to be Frost off the board as the man advantage heads in favor of the attacking team.
Forward placed FNAT inside a master bedroom, forcing IQ to take a step back, and I'm sure they'll be able to identify where it's placed and remove it pretty swiftly. Again, that frag grenade being thrown to take out the bulletproof camera that's once again been placed in trophy as well. So a really good job again by FALKE to make sure they remove this initial information. Now they compound that with an opening kill. Again, starting to put this spread, this wraparound effect on the defense to try and draw out the attention from Pannu.
Is this just a better push from the attack side for 2F? Is this just because of the solve site? Now it's going to be Forever finding the kill as he takes the headshot, and Smoke is going to be off the board, deleted. Goodbye. Twitch to get in to start to take away some of those F-Nots that we were talking about, those Dread Mines, and Rare to fall. Leaves us alone in a 1v5. Got to put yourself on pace for the ace as the plant starts to go down. Takes free fire towards that doorway, but it's flawless round. They were set up. The crossfire was there. That was the easy peasy, both lemon and squeeze.
I think solved is the perfect way to put it, Glitter, right? You're looking at how they're approaching it. They very meticulously have this lockdown of pushing into master bedroom, removing trophy as a playable space for the defense, and from there, you're boxed in. We're not seeing the extensions come in from Pannu. We're not seeing head hikes and pit, which give you this opportunity to start to contest back, to give yourself another angle to fight back against the oncoming attack. And I think they're boxing themselves in just a little bit too much. We got 3 rounds left on the half. 3 more defenses for Pannu to play out. I want to see them expand a little bit more, take the fight to FALKE, because so far they're giving them a lot of space to play with, and we're seeing FALKE continuously use that to their advantage to limit and restrict Pannu's movement. But I'm seeing the lineup, I'm seeing very much the same thing, and I don't think we're going to get these changes that we're demanding to see. Instead, try a tertiary bomb site. Give us something slightly different, just because at least it breaks up this momentum that FALKE have. Twice they've attacked on the top floor. Twice they've looked very comfortable, repeating and rinsing the same thing time and time again.
So what we do? I was gonna say it looked like Smoke was downstairs, and I'm gonna be honest with you. A world where we have a roaming Smoke, I want to live in that world, Gallo. I think that would be incredibly fun, but not gonna be the case. They've all rotated back up to site. It's a complete bunker strat yet again, and kind of playing into that same mentality, right? They're gonna be boxed in. The pinch is gonna start to occur, and if we see the attacking team get that early entry pick yet again, I mean, it's just going to keep devolving in the same way. So a couple of shots towards the white stairs. Buck takes a little bit of damage, but he's able to WASD his way to some safety as they're going to try to reapproach it here. Now, the adaptation, Galu, coming out of the attack, they're bringing the Fenrir gadgets. So what do? They bring the Brava, right? Bring something that's going to take those away without having to put yourself in that relative danger. I think this is a good adaptation, and if the defense isn't ready for it, it's going to be huge.
They saw the defender outside pop up on their screen for a second, but I don't think they realised it's from the main entrance. Spotted out the Solace in basement, though. So again, FALKE, a little bit of a slower attempt here, but with that early pressure inside of showers, limiting a lot of this defensive movement around the rest of the map. I want to see if they're prioritizing big window a little bit heavier with the butt coming through as well. Flashbangs to try and force away a bit of pressure around white, but the hacked FNAT going to come through and force Mamai back up the staircase, again locking this part of the map in firm control, and a lovely shot to try and make it a double kill, but no, the Solace able to grab a little bit of a break for their team.
Even though she was spotted out on the cam, still able to be an impactful player. But the body balance is tipped in favor of the attack team as we start to slow it down just a little bit, right? They've got that one body balance, a little bit of a reset here for this last minute and 15 as they really just suss out where these last defenders are, specifically isolating that Solace and getting her off the board and then getting yourself ready for the execute. 65 left on the board in which to do so.
And plenty utility, but a perfect swing from E2 takes down Rafa. You lose the Brava. The utility mainly done, the job of the drone completed, but it's an important position to hold. It's not going to matter though, because you're on low enough HP that just by using the skeleton key from down below, you're able to take him out. A bit of pressure relief, but you still know the Buck is lurking down below, playing ring around the rosies now with the Solace, who's going to run upstairs and narrowly avoid forever. One on big window, one playing for white stairs. This is still very winnable for FALKE, but Pannu should be able to read into this, and I'm expecting them to be waiting for it.
That's right. So Solace already on the rotate back up, going to make herself an impactful player from the backside, but she gets caught up in the bees. So her location is being revealed. It's a continuous ping that they're able to find out, and they act off that opportunity, take her off the board, and now back into a 2v1. Finds himself with Jaeger and all to do here. The shot's going to be fired from the attic area, but crossfire set up in place. They take him off the board.
A really nice rotation coming in from FALKE. I didn't expect this, right? I was ready for them to commit to one pushing up white stairs and a big window vault in, but they recognized that wasn't going to be a very successful strategy for them because it's so difficult to contest anyone hiding inside of dorms by jumping in. You're stuck in the vault animation. You become a very easy target, and with the floor level holes, you can't actually take a very comfortable gunfight. You don't really have that good vision down in. So they go for a rotation. They use the bees to sort of semi-cover the sound of the first movement from the Buck, and catching off the Solace is just that extra little cherry on top where you now have that good information. Buck can push in aggressively to try and secure the early kill, which they do, and from there it's just about playing off of each other to make sure they're ready for a double swing should Jaeger get aggressive, which he does, and they punish it accordingly. Really, really well worked by FALKE to make sure they're winning yet another round, and it's going to force Pannu to completely give up on that top floor, I should think, at this point. But the basement is unlocked, so a temporary break for them.
So, yeah, losing the basement, or going back down to the basement, seems like the W idea. It's the site you're more comfortable with. It's the site that you've won on. But the problem is, and this might come into play here, is some of those kills were off the back of maybe something that necessarily shouldn't have happened, right? One of them being that Capcan kill that came out. He's not going to be on the board. Now, we still get a ton of slowdown here out of the defense, right? Bringing the mirror, bringing the area denial of the smoke, still relying on the Fenrir. You said we're going to see him every round. You have not been wrong so far, but he's going to be put down to a low health and immediately taken off the board. And yet again, man advantage is going to sit firmly in hands of the opening pick going to the attack team.
Yeah, FALKE just again, they're working these initial picks so well, and the big difference from Pannu, last time we saw them so patient, so diligent with how quickly they wanted to fall off. They were just on this middle floor to shoot a couple drones, make their presence known, and escape unscathed. This time, you get a bit too greedy, you delve too deep onto the top floor, and immediately cut off by the swarm of FALKE, who just recognized it, spotted out on an early placed drone, and punished so immensely well. And that's what we've seen time and time again from FALKE. Now, you have all the remaining defenders locked down on the bomb site. The Fenrir, you know those mines aren't able to be dispersed anymore. If you get rid of them, they're gone for good. There's one on the bottom of that staircase, but it's closed off. You can't be able to pop it open. So this is looking good for the attack if they can just work away a bit this utility, and they've got plenty of time to do so.
And look at this. We're going to see it again. They're going to send themselves back up into a position, but the buddy system in play. Not even going to need it. No drone bait to be had. They're going to find the kill onto smoke, and that is your area denial gone. And that is a huge problem for the defense. Yes, you still have the long-range capabilities of the DMR in the hands of the Aruni, and, of course, you still have to work off of those Miras, but, I mean, damage done. We still have the Ash who's able to deal with those fairly effectively, turn them into a barricaded wall to peek behind. Get that cross set up and execute going down, my friend. This is looking very 1, 2, 3 steps out of the attack team.
Couple shots coming onto Forever, trying to remove the shield, and the mirror window might have done it in the end, but it looks like they're going to have to get ready for a second shot, which should come out pretty quickly if they want to go for this freezer side push. Lining up on Laundry as well. Again, setting themselves up to be able to hit multiple sides, and I really like this, but Bombi's just going to send it, just saying we ball, and rushes into bunker, gets 2 quills before quickly being dealt with, but it's just left them in a 1 versus 4. Forever swiftly on the follow-up, ends out the round in a pretty comfortable fashion, and again, early initial control, plenty of time to open up into sight, to use their utility, send it down, remove mirror windows, remove barbed wire on the back staircases. And it's forcing this aggression from Pannu when they just really can't afford it. They get punished every single time. This has been so clinical from FALKE on these attacks.
Yeah, and the problem is we're not seeing the change. We're not seeing the adaptation out of the defense, right? If you're going to send somebody up to do a little bit of roaming, maybe send a buddy up there as well. Put somebody that's in place to capitalize off a refrag if you're not able to find that initial kill. And I think that's one of the easiest parts here for the attack team. They're able to just isolate, get that easy body balance, and then rely on the trade game for the rest of the round. And it's working out incredibly. That's 4-1. We're almost to the half, and it's looking like potentially for a standard split, just not in the direction that we were thinking.
Yeah, it really isn't. That's, 2 games this evening where attacks have come out and put on very, very strong performances. And you run back downstairs to the basement for your final attempt. I think this makes a lot of sense. I want to see them run it back to more similar to how they ran it the first time, right? Let's not overinvest on this roam. I don't want to play for it. Yes, there's plenty of utility on the side of the attack to play for an execute, but I think we just have to acknowledge that they're going to be able to push down and play for util if they want to, which rely on the strength of the basement. But I guess Jonas has other ideas. He's going to run up to the lobby, get his opening pill onto Striker, and dip. Caught on that run back to the staircase, though. I think that's it's an okay trade. I think you can, not ideal, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, get the discs off the board.
Oh my!
Woo! Absolutely, Control-Alt-Deleted on that one, and that is going to put huge into the favor of the defense as they find both Ash and the newest player, Striker, off the board. That was huge, right? And they still got some of this roam to deal with in the smoke. I said roaming smoke. I was mostly kidding, but I love it, right? He got the smokes to be able to hold off an area as he heads back to site if he needed it. Not going to be the case. So they rotate all the way back down. It's a full bunker down strat for the last half of the map, and this works out really well if you're a defender. Now, if they can hold on to the vertical game, that's where we're going to start to see the question. We've seen some incredible gun skill coming out of Dano. He sits in that 5 and 2 area, so next win condition here for the defense is going to be to shut him down.
He's probing at the back staircase, but again, they want to rely on this opening pick. They need to find a way to get it back to 3-3 so they can start to pull apart Pannu and force more of these 1v1 engagements. Smoke respecting that that's going to be the win plan here for FALKE, and swapping off of the tight angle with the shotgun onto some G11 instead, where you can hold a little bit more of a passive angle and wait for a teammate to play for your refrag. shoots out the drone as it tries to get on in, again denying the ability to remove a potential Banshee or an FNAT that's been deployed, and using these Toxic Babes, again, to split up FALKE. You're not letting them connect together to work a pick.
And tons of intel going out, and that's going to be the first taking Fenrir off the board, and that's going to equalize on the man count, but at a heavy cost. Grim reduced to that 4 HP in a dream, and in the one-shot headshot game, he's still a viable candidate, right? Pressure on from the killer area. They've got the intel, a couple of shots over, but it's going to be getting close to getting that execute set up with the crossfire in place, but they're still going to have to deal with the Mira, who does not have a C4. No C4, no gas canisters in hand, so this is going to have to be done a little bit more of the traditional way, a little bit of gunfire. So they start to push up. It's going to be the shots from Freezer, but they're going to miss, and that's going to be the plant starting to go down as Dano finds himself a double win condition not met. All going to be on the shoulders of Malusti, who's going to get pistol popping, body dropping. Headshot's going to ring out. Dano.
I'm shocked. I thought we were going to look at a very good hold for Pannu, but FALKE they've done it again. They've done it again. Every single time their back is against the wall, they find a way to work that initial pick. They get just one kill. And from there, everything starts to snowball under their control. Pannu, you had a 4 versus 3. And you should, from that position, on an Oregon basement, feel very comfortable waiting for the push to come through and playing off of trades. But a couple players just jump the gun, the drop-down E-box isn't anticipated, and you're standing in the open. Unfortunate first pick, but you should be able to trade that out with some pressure coming in through bunker, but it's perfectly managed by FALKE, who, despite the fact that there's a Toxic Babe preventing you from pushing in, still stand right up, almost breathing in the smoke, just to look down into bunker to control the movement of the smoke. So he can't come up, he can't re-aggress, and he gets punished when he tries to do so. And from there, you just walk on down into the site, you make your presence known, and you just play for these 1 versus 1 gunfights, and you're giving them every single time. Fantastic job by FALKE, who very clearly know how they want to work, just what very limited utility they have in. A grenade thrown down to force Fenrir to move, to time with the drop, opening pick done. From there, you're playing level. I mean, FALKE are just playing phenomenally.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now we got the side swap, right? We're going to switch gears. We're going to see that if Pannu is able to bring something maybe that we haven't seen before out of the attack side. Now, you see the new operator on the board. Striker going to be utilized here, but I think probably one of the better plays here is going to be the Monty coming out, right? He's now viable in that 1vx scenario, especially in that post-plant area. So hopefully we're going to see a little bit of activity, going to be able to get a ton of that real estate potentially for free, as we've got the defense completely bunkered down, right? No space, no roaming. You can have second floor and first floor for absolute free, but they're going to be relying, here's the difference, they're relying on that area denial in a big way. Goyle and Smoke going to be out to try to really slow down that end game, the end of the round.
And it just speaks to how naturally strong the basement layout is that you can do this. You don't have to mess around with playing for the clock on the rest of the map, and we know that there's no roam, but that isn't known to Pannu, who are still a little bit concerned that they might get pressured from elsewhere. Immediately walking down the back staircase now, the first minute of the round is a fine amount of time to pay for clearing out. They're starting to get hatches open and immediately committing to the drop, but you've lost your push on the back stairs, so it's all relying on winning the gunfight around Pillar. They're playing ring around the Rosies. They cannot isolate the Warden. They finally do with the Bees, but Dano is going to make it a quad kill on the round to shut down anything before it can happen.
I said the win condition was to take Dano off the board. They have failed to do so, and now we break out the barbecue sauce for that 4-piece, baby. Dano is going absolutely crazy. They don't have a way to deal with him. They can get man advantage. They can take real estate, but in the end, they're going to lose the gunfight, and that is the huge problem. No buddy system in play, so he's getting all of these one-on-one gunfights. Even if it's in that short period of time, he's still getting one-on-one gunfights, and he is just absolutely destroying those.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
You can't isolate him. You can't lock him down. And that's the biggest difference from and we've seen one round on Pannu's attacks, but it is the biggest difference. How well FALKE were able to limit the movements of defensive players and how they were unrestricted and getting aggressive when they wanted to that time around, right? FALKE under very little threat, and they let that show. And now you go into the top floor, again, we're seeing the reinforcement off of Pit, but with extensions and holds being made all the way over towards Armory, I'm already seeing the lineup leaning a little bit more aggressively, willing to try and fight at the front doorstep. And I really like this approach to the site. They have a little bit of pressure down below as well, and reinforcing off the kitchen single. I'm sure they'll have a rotate either into meeting or security to pair with this, just to allow players downstairs to have that freedom of movement to choose how they want to take gunfights against this initial clear that's going to come through from Pannu.
Yeah, and so, yeah, as you're talking about it, it's Fenrir down in there to be an absolute nuisance, but they're going to find the first off the board. Kapkan going to go down. The body shot's going to take him off the board, but job done by him, right? He's already got his Kapkan traps down, so yes, it is the man advantage that's going to be put into the hands of Pannu, but if I'm on the defense, I'm not especially worried about that. You still have the 6-man of those Kapkan traps on the board, and it hasn't been seen yet, as we're only the second round into the side swap here. So this is a great job by the attack team. They get that early pick. Here's going to be the question. Can they capitalize? Can they force another kill out of this? And it's going to have to be on that Fenrir, because if not, he's going to have to play.
Still down below, but now a decent amount of pressure coming in. Showers, dining as well as you're walking up. Gotta be careful not to hit the F nut that's placed aggressively. That's going to draw the ire of the Fenrir, but still one in kitchen corridor as well. And as the drones come through, they should be ready to jump on him here.
Makes his way back into security, going to switch around where those dreads are going, and that's going to be the full flash in as we're going to see that engagement onto the Fenrir, but not going to be the case. He's going to actually head down to the hatch and take the scenic route as he goes to for a bit of that rotate, and here we go. What a play. Verticality can be had both ways, and this time they take it from the bottom, and see it just start to collapse here for the defense as we now find ourselves in a 5v2 scenario, and we're going to find one, but the crossfire is in place. They're going to take forever off the board. Shotgun going to try to make the swing, but it's just not going to do it as Grim is there to seal the deal and find one for the attack.
1 HP at the end as well, but a much better push in through from Pannu, right? You look at the way in which they approach it. They recognize that the Fenrir is downstairs. They want to overwhelm with numbers. I will say, I feel like they could have hit that trigger. They could have gone in a little bit quicker on him. Because by the time that they all sort of swarmed around, they gave him the out of dropping down into the basement trying to escape. Which, sure, you eventually trade him out anyway, but it's still this threat that you now have to consider could wrap around either the freezer stairs or what ended up happening all the way up to Laundry and running through Zulu. But either way, the rest of the atoll, you look at how they push onto site. Much more cohesive job at putting pressure onto FALKE, force players out of the comfortable positions that they want to be stood in, walking out into angles, the verticality coming in from below when you have that buck, just rip open the floor, force this movement, get you those opening picks. A much, much better job from Pannu compared to the first round, where they were very happy to let FALKE be the ones that termed the terms of engagement.
So, is it too little too late, right? We now have to see Pannu be perfect for 4 rounds in a row. And if it's going to be anything like what we've seen already, the adaptations are going to come out here from the defense. So, they're really great at reading and adapting. That last round didn't go so well for them, but I don't know if Pannu is going to be able to get away with a round like that again. They're going to have to get the early engagement, and yet again, it's going to have to be onto the Fenrir, who is still holding down in that security area. So no real changes for the defense. Maybe one of the operators gets changed out, but still the same strat here. So feeling very confident in their ability to be able to hold on to this first floor.
We just saw 3 Kapkans get placed on tower window as well. I refuse to let that get a kill. I won't have it. But the attack don't look like that's their priority for the time being. Again, it's wanting to get down underneath the bomb site and deal with the extended roam down in kitchen and security. And with the drone flying through, you do have to be wary of the vertical holes being made. But just by sitting in position, waiting patiently, they catch off the first pick and threaten onto Armory stairs as well, as Warden's location very much known to them now.
So Warden rotate back up into sight. Still got to deal with the Kapkan, who is holding down in that basement area. Buck to find a little bit of damage as he's reduced to that 10 HP and a dream. Is Kapkan going to try to start rotating maybe back up towards sight? Holding on a little bit, but he's got the intel that they're going to be moving around. So it's going to be the rotate. He's going to look for somebody to be caught off guard on their specific movement, and that's going to be the Lion, who does get taken down by the shotgun. And That was one of their low health players off the board. Buck are going to be the other one. So still going to be putting some attention onto the verticality, but the defense not going to be fooled by it this time. Grim going to get taken down as well as we now find ourselves into a 4v3 with a low health scenario. The double kill, the game sense just finds them almost on for the third, but they're able to stop the bleeding as GPT is able to take that kill. Now, it is still a winnable situation for the attack, but they're going to have to come up with something fancy here. They need to equalize, or they're going to find themselves in a too little, too late, game over situation.
And what do you try and work together? We saw FALKE in a similar position. It was a 2v2, so a little bit more flexibility for them, but they pushed up white and through the main breach. This time it's big window. That might be a launching point, trying to open up some of this verticality to remove a player from behind the bed. But they're not too worried about it. Damo just standing his ground.
You're 12-3, right? You got the confidence, take the swing. So we still have a little bit of that verticality. They're trying to open it up. They're just not able to dislodge. An impact goes out, but not able to find anything. There it is. That's going to be a headshot to equalize. And now in a 2-2, but it's 19 seconds left. So they find themselves with all to do. A couple of shots through the floor, not going to amount to anything as he is prone, waiting for that push from the window. A couple of shots, they're able to find a little bit of damage, but it's just a quick move up. 5 seconds left, 2v1. They got to get in and get a plant down, but it's not going to happen. Rafa able to take it, and that is a big GG's.
How many bullets do you have left after spraying down the Nomad? It can't be many. We saw the magazine run out at the end of that gunfight with Ash. But a really good, just patience from FALKE holding the position. Dano just wriggling on the floor for their life, just refusing to give it up. And so much respect goes out to it. But they do push themselves over the edge. 7-2 win, the end score. I think the attacks, very, very comfortable. They looked very, very commanding on a lot of these pushes. The defense, had we seen a bit more of time for Pannu to warm themselves up onto that attacking half, they had some real potential there. They showed some good things, but ultimately that's what happens. If you get put down to that match point very early on, you have very little time to correct from these mistakes after that halftime swap, and they got punished for it. You need to have a better start on defense on Oregon.
Yeah, and it's that classic of being reactive instead of proactive, right?
Yeah.
They seemed like they were always on the back foot trying to figure out what the heck FALKE was doing. And yeah, like you said, they paid for it in a heavy way. You get that early couple of rounds on Oregon. You do it on attack, and you do it in a best of one. And then, unfortunately, that's just going to be a GG.
And that's the game, right? That's all we have for this evening. We've had 2 best of ones. Thank you for joining us. It's been lovely to get some fun entertainment and a lot of attacking wins, right? It's always nice because one of the big complaints that you have of lower tiers of Siege, tier 4 Siege, is that teams sometimes don't look very strong in their attacks, and the game kind of becomes a bit of a slog as to who's better at closing out on their defenses, right? Who gets the 5-1, not a 4-2? That hasn't been the case today. It's really nice to see that we are starting to see teams really work on these attacks and become very proficient. So, yeah. Wonderful sign of things to come.
Yep, can't wait for it.
Well, thank you for joining us, but that is it for this evening. So, take care of yourselves, have a lovely time, and we'll catch you tomorrow for the next Playdate of Talent League.